What's up, math scholars and math haters? This is Mr. W. We're going to tackle question 14 of the 4th grade math questions that North Carolina released this past school year. We can see that each classroom at a school has 24 desks. There are 18 classrooms in the school, and we're trying to find out how many desks in total are at the school. To do a problem like this and to do it really well, you're going to need to know how to translate problems like this, as well as how to do some multiplying with bigger numbers, like 24 and 18. There was another question just like this. I forget exactly what number it was, but it was in the 4th grade section, so if you want to find that video, I'm going to do this problem very similar to how I did that one. But anyway, to start with, this word each. If you've seen any of my other videos where I translate a multiplication problem, you know that I'm going to say that if I see each or every or per, that tells me that I'm going to have to multiply. Specifically, I'm going to have to multiply the number of desks by the number of rooms in order to get the total number of how many desks are at the school. And if I'm going to fill in some of that information, each classroom has 24 desks, and there are 18 classrooms in the school, and that equals, when I multiply these two numbers together, that's going to equal some number that I'm trying to find. Now, just like with the other problem that was just like this, ordinarily if this were a fact family, we'd have to do some moving some numbers around and all that, but thankfully, this time our unknown number is by itself, especially when you get up to higher grades and you work with equations. That's what you want. You want your unknown number to be by itself, and all we have to do is do 24 times 18. Now, just like with the other question, I'm going to do this with the way that I was taught to multiply big numbers, and then I'll do this with the way that I learned in my teacher training and that one of my students actually showed me. So if I'm going to do 24 times 18, I'm going to start with 8 times 4. 8 times 4 is going to give me 32, which I'll write as 2 ones and 3 tens. I then move on to 8 times 2, which is 16. I add my 3 tens up here, and that gets me 19 tens. So my first row is 192. I essentially multiplied 24 by 8 to get 192. Don't need this anymore. And now I cross this out, and it's like I'm multiplying by 10. So I'm going to put a 0 right there, and I'm just going to go through and multiply 1 times 4, which is 4, 1 times 2, which is 2. Now that I've gone through all this multiplication work, I just need to add everything up. 2 ones plus 0 ones gives me 2 ones. 9 tens plus 4 tens gives me 13 tens, or 3 tens and 100. 100 plus 100 plus 200s is going to give me 400s, which gives me the answer of 432 total desks at the school. This matches answer choice B, so I'll go ahead and circle that, but I am going to go over the other method, which is called the box method. This is where I break down each of my factors into, no, that's not how you write it, into, for instance, 20 plus 4 and 10 plus 8. I create a box, and I'm just going to go through and multiply 8 times 20 to here, 8 times 4 here, 10 times 20 here, and 10 times 4 here. So 8 times 20, 8 times 2 is 16. I tack on a 0, and that's 160. 8 times 4 is 32. 10 times 20 is the same thing as 1 times 2, which is 2. And then I add my zeros. And then 10 times 4 is 40. Now, each of these multiplications ended up showing up in our other problem with the so-called standard algorithm. But it is nice, in my opinion, to see in the box method how or where each of the numbers comes from instead of just trying to mesh them together over here, even though it does take more room and more time. But now I have to go ahead and add everything, so that's 200, 160, 40, and 32. 0 ones, 0 ones, 0 ones, and 2 ones get me 2 ones. 6 tens, 4 tens, and 3 tens give me 13 tens, or 3 tens and 100. And then 100 plus 200s plus 100 gives me 400s, leading me to 432. Same answer as with the other method. So our answer is still choice B.